Greetings! Welcome back to Signature Scents. My name is Ryan, and today we will be doing the continuation of the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements Smell Test Series with Clubguy. I've been looking forward to this one because this is how I got into this company. I have the original Clubman by Pinaud, and I love this classic barbershop scent. The problem with it is it's got a synthetic talky note that for some reason messes with my sinuses and it kind of hurts. One day I was like, man, I wish I could find a natural version of this so I could enjoy it. And that's kind of how I found this company, Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements. And Clubguy is their homage to Pinaud Clubman. And I've heard from several reviewers who said that this is actually better than the original. So needless to say, I am very, very excited for this. So let's get into our 4-part smell test. Okay, so the 4-part smell test is going to go down like this. Part 1, we're going to smell it out of the bottle. Part 2, we're going to put it on some paper and smell it off the paper. Part 3, we're going to dump it into a spritzer and spray it on. And then part 4, I'm going to disappear. I'm going to go away, have my lunch, do some work, go through my day, and observe how it performs, if I get wafts, what it smells like, and the dry down, etc. Then I'm going to come back and share my final thoughts. So let's get into the first part of the smell test with the bottle. Okay, so let's give this a smell out of the bottle. Wow, it literally smells like Clubman Pinaud, but very natural. I'm not getting any headache. Just like the last one, you can tell this is natural. The smell is so crisp, it's fresh, it's clean. So you do have a little bit of the talc note, but it's not as prominent as it is in the original formula. Bergamot, I would say a very small tinge of the lime. And then there's a spearmint. The spearmint adds this really nice freshness to it. In fact, I would say that the spearmint kind of takes center stage out of the bottle. I would say that as actually the talc is the first thing that hits your nose, the first thing you process, but immediately right after that talc hits, this almost mentholated spearmint kind of takes over the show. And that spearmint is kind of painted with a further sort of aftertaste peripheral of like a bergamot and maybe a touch of lime. Very, very nice out of the bottle. Very, very clean, fresh. Again, invigorating. I'm very excited to continue with this. So let's get into the next phase, part 2 on the paper. So what I'm going to do, here's a nice little dose. I'm actually going to, I don't want to smell the Clubman, the original formula, out of the bottle because of the way that synthetic note is, but I am going to put some on paper so that I can do a side-by-side comparison. I'm going to be very careful with this because this synthetic note will knock out my nose, so I'm not going to go crazy with it. I just want to put a little bit on. There's that one. So I'm going to put that one on this side so I know which one's which. Okay, let me smell the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements one here now first. See how this changes. Okay, different on the paper. Okay, on the paper, the talc note is not prominent. Not as prominent. It's still there, but the spearmint comes up more, and it smells like there's a little bit of a floral that is now peeping through the spearmint. Before, it was just on the bottle, it was very, very top, and now we're getting a little bit of this heart. The spearmint's interesting. It smells, again, it's very, because these naturals, and I think I mentioned this before, is the gentleman who makes these, they're not just natural essential oils, but this gentleman also apparently diffuses a lot of his own essential oils. So to say they're fresh is an understatement. Okay, getting a little bit of lavender, but yeah, that spearmint mentholated note is dominating it. Almost, I don't want to say it knocks out the nose, but it's so prominent and powerful that we're probably gonna have to wait a little bit for this to dry down before that one goes away. I will say though, it's very fresh. It's very, very invigorating. I would say it's a departure at this point from the original Pinaud Clubman, which I'm going to go ahead and put my nose on here. Oh yeah. I'm gonna be very gentle with this. Okay. Wow, it's really interesting. You can really smell, this is the natural, this is the original Clubman by Pinaud. You can smell the synthetic, when you go from natural, that syntheticness of this is much more pronounced. So in fact, they are very similar. The synthetic one is more, I would say thicker is the one word I would say. It's a little thicker. It's sort of like comparing walking through a cloud of smoke versus walking through like a mist. The mist, that kind of crisp, clean vibe, if you will, is sort of the naturals. This one's more cloud-like. It's very thick, it's condensed. It just has that syntheticness to it. Again, still smells fantastic though. So the main difference between the two outside of that, there is one note in this. They are very similar. You can tell that they're the same DNA. There's a floral sweet note that's a little bit more turned up in this version. That gives it a little bit more fresh. Let's go to the next test, phase 3, and get this into the spray bottle and spray down the skin. So this is a 2 ml sprayer. You can see that the juice is a little bit over halfway, so that tells you the sample is a ml plus. So let's go ahead, I'm gonna spray this on a few areas. I wanna spray this on my hand to keep my nose in front of it when I want. See this? Nice little spray here, nice shine. And then also, wow, is that nice? Getting a waft of it in the air. Like a very fresh floral, but not like, the spearmint really rounds that floral off so it doesn't smell like flowers. They paint this spearmint kind of bergamot, very fresh. So I'm also going to spray it on my skin. Now I'm not going to mess up like last time. I'm going to keep it behind my nose so I'm not knocking out my nose so I can get the wafts. Okay, I'm also going to do a little bit under the shirt, get a little diffusion action, cover that up. All right, let's see how this changes on the skin. Ooh. So off the skin, the spearmint is there, but it's changed. I would say this is going to sound strange, but it's like a greener spearmint off of the skin. Yes, you get a little bergamot. I think a little bit of lavender. The florals are starting to come up a little bit, come up through the spearmint. The spearmint is definitely taking, like the spearmint's like, hey, I'm in charge here. And then it's letting a little bit of the florals come through. Yeah, that's pretty much it. It's just spearmint and a little bit of floral so far. So I'm going to go ahead and stop it here. I'm going to go off and carry on through my day. Okay, I am back. It is about 4 hours into this test. I am going to now share my observations of what I was experiencing with the projection, the sillage, what other people's reactions were, and the kinds of wafts I get, the dry down experience. I also want to revisit this is the original Pinaud Clubman. This is the Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements on the paper. We're going to take a look at these as well and see how this dries down. Some people have been saying that this Phoenix Artisan Accoutrements version of Clubman is better than the original. Now, I'm going to share my take on that at the end. Let me first continue on the story. Let me start sharing my first reactions with this. I have been very impressed with the wafts that I have been getting from the stuff. Now remember, this stuff is marketed as an aftershave / EDC. I can tell you right away, this stuff performs more like an EDC cologne. And I would even stretch it to say this is right on the fringe of EDT. Within the first hour of smelling this, my first experience, I was getting wafts. Now, when I left you before, the main thing that I was reporting on is the spearmint, right? So the spearmint is in the opening, it's fresh, it's invigorating. It does kind of knock out the nose a little bit where you can't pick up anything, especially when you keep diving your nose into it like that. As soon as I got outside, I went outside, I started my walk to lunch. Man, I was getting these big wafts of that Pinaud Clubman talky powder with a little bit of the lavender and florals painting the talc. This guy really nailed the structure of how Pinaud Clubman is, the ratio of the notes, how they are working with each other. I mean, I think this guy nailed it. I finally made it to lunch. This was about, I think, around close to the hour mark of when I originally sprayed it, and then when I finally actually made it to lunch. I was standing at the counter, and there was a woman who was checking me out. And between the counter table and the person where we were standing, there was about 2 solid arm lengths away from each other. Now, as I was checking out, I actually saw her do like a, she was smelling her face from a neutral. It wasn't like a bad or wasn't a good, it was just like a neutral. But the thing was, I could tell she had smelled the fragrance that I was wearing. Now that's about 6 feet away from me, and that was about an hour into this. Now this is, for an aftershave EDC, this is a very, very good projection. Continued on, I had lunch, I left lunch, I also did some more errands. I went to the post office and I was walking outside, and today is a windy day, and maybe that helped it because I was still getting a nice scent bubble. I was getting wafts, okay? And you saw me spray it over here, and I also sprayed it here. When I turn my head to the side, I can still get it. And as I'm sitting here I think it's about 4 hours later, I'm still getting nice wafts, and the wafts are just like the original Pinaud Clubman. It's talc. The talciness is what's being painted. And if you haven't watched my original review of the Pinaud Clubman, go and check that out. I'll put a link in the description so you can get a really good idea where I go in depth in that. It's the talc's being painted with, there's a lavender and there's a little bit of the geranium is kind of there. And I know there's like, this guy uses real oak moss and there's that base, but the main accords I'm getting is a beautiful, well-blended, slightly floral talc. The floral isn't feminine, it's the talc accord, it makes it masculine. So it feels very clean, and when you combine it with the naturals, that crisp, clean freshness of the naturals, this stuff is really, really incredible. Now, the way that it's performing on my skin, it's still churning. I mean, it's 4 hours later and it's still going. This is probably going to stretch, I would say, to, I think now, at about 4 hour mark, I would say the sun bubble is probably somewhere in this distance. It's still prominent. It's definitely not a skin scent. I'm going to guess this is probably going to stretch to 5-6 hours, give or take. Some people could probably easily get more out of this. So is this better than the original? I love the original. I think I have to say that I agree with the people who are saying that this is a better version of Clubman. And I say version lightly. This is Pinaud Clubman. It's just a natural Clubman. So when you go from the Phoenix one to the OG, this one is synthetic and this one is not. But however, the way that they have structured the scent with the notes, the different volume on the notes, the talciness, it's all there. He did a fantastic job. The main difference outside of the synthetic is the talciness in this, I think, is turned up a little bit, and I think that is really just because of the synthetic nature to it. It's a little bit more in your face. This one is not. Now, this stuff is $26 for 100 mil. They also have an EDP. They have the shaving cream. They have the lotion. They have the soaps. And if you got more products in the line and really just immerse yourself in the scent from literally head to toe, you could easily get more longevity out of this. So I think this stuff is fantastic. This for me works in all seasons, and especially because of that spearmint note, because of that nice talky, lavendery floral. It's not too aggressive. It's also very clean feeling. This would make for a perfect freshie. Like I could see using, like you take this and keep maybe a small little 2 mil. You can get these online, or you get yourself a little atomizer and you can reapply this stuff. Because it's so cheap and you get such a huge amount of it, you can really spray at will and not really worry about am I overspraying. Also because it's not very aggressive in its projection. So it's very pleasant. It's office friendly. I definitely think this is office friendly. It's cold here. I'm recording this in the very, very late fall. It's starting to get very cold here in Portland. I cannot wait to see how this stuff performs in the summertime as a summer freshie, because I don't have, the citrus freshies don't really work for me because they literally do not last at all on my skin. These aromatic fugés, these barbershop scents are my go-to freshies. I'm so impressed with this stuff that I am definitely have this on my buy list. Now, I have 11 samples to get through. So at the end of the day, I'm not going to be able to afford to buy all of them right away. I'm going to rate them at the end. And I can tell you right now, though, this one is going to be towards the top list. It's a fantastic barbershop scent. I highly recommend it. If you like the original Clubman, you will absolutely love this. This is going to be very, very refreshing to your nose. If you like barbershop scents, you're going to love this stuff. If you're a younger person, a younger guy, I think you can definitely pull this off because it's not very aggressive. It is clean. However, because of that talciness, it does have a slightly mature scent, slightly mature vibe. Especially if you're used to like those really super sweet scents from like Nordstrom's, the new modern formulations. This is going to be a little bit different. Your nose is going to have to get accustomed to this, but if you like that kind of style, this can work for anybody. I really do believe that. It's a fantastic scent, and I'm very, very happy to promote this. Again, I'm not sponsored. I paid for this with my own money, and I'll still probably buy the bottle with my own money. I'm not having any deals with these guys. I love promoting them because the way that they use their ingredients, they're using their own diffused oils. It's all natural. It's the amount of time and effort the guy must have put into this to nailing this scent is really, really impressive. So in summary, I love it and I definitely recommend it. And I'm personally planning on buying the EDC version of it. I think the EDP is good and I might go there at some point, but for the price point at $40, I think it's actually around 30 mils at what you get versus the $26 for 100 mil, and I can reapply. I think I'm just gonna go with that one. I love it as a day. For me, what I'm gonna use it for, I'm gonna use this as a day scent. It's got just enough to take me into the early evening. It's fresh, it's clean, it's perfect for when you get out of the shower, and I really, really look forward to using this stuff more. Now, before you go, I want to share with you a really brief overview of what we have coming up. We have some more vintage formulations. In the next video, I'm going to be covering this gentleman's homage to the original Proraso Green, which was from Proraso, which was started in 1908, an Italian barbershop scent. That's going to be coming up in the next video. We also have still on the list their homage to the vintage Brut formulation, which I cannot wait for that one because if you see my past videos, I love Brut. They also have Wood Hue by Fabergé, the vintage formulation. They have the vintage formulation homage to Polo Sport. They have the Scholten Old Spice, the original formula. They have the Old Spice Fresh scent. They also have a 1960s barbershop smell. They have a Green Fougère, their take on Green Fougère's vintage classic formulations. I'm really looking forward to going through the rest of these. The first two have really, left a good impression on me, so I'm excited for the rest. So if you like this video, make sure to drop a like, make sure to subscribe to see the rest of the series. And if you have tried this stuff or you plan on getting it, leave a comment below, especially if you end up getting a sample. They're $1 for one sample. Let me know what your thoughts were on it. I would love to hear from you. So that's it for today. Make sure to waft kindness to others. God bless.